Hi, this is Stephen Beschloss with America, America,
I'm Mark Jacob with the Stop the Presses newsletter.
and this is Media Misses.
Today, we want to talk about the fact that Donald Trump is not normal. And for the news media to pretend he is at this late date, when we're right up to the election day, is just absurd. And I don't know why it still happens. We want to focus on a story in Politico headlined Trump strikes somber tone while touring storm ravaged North Carolina. Well, I mean, somber tone at that event. He was still lying about FEMA, saying that they were stealing money from recovery efforts to give it to migrants, which is just not true. And the day before, he'd done this goofy thing at McDonald's where he'd pretended to be a McDonald's employee. And at this event in North Carolina where he was supposedly showing a somber tone, he got a French fry certification pin from someone. So this is the same old goofy garbage that we've been seeing a lot. And for Politico to give it some sort of gravitas is ridiculous, Stephen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Mark. And it's not only that they tried to sort of take what he did in North Carolina sort of seriously as if it was some sort of a shift. It's the way that the reporter minimized what's been happening in recent days as if it isn't all part of a package. We all know that over the weekend, we had Trump telling a 10-minute story about the size of Arnold Palmer's genitalia. Um, you know, it's easy to sort of say this is just an amusing thing, and the reporter dismissed it in her story by essentially calling it part of his quote unquote entertainment focused message. Right. This is part of the entertainment of this candidate. So he's entertaining this day, and then he's somber this day. As if all of this represents sort of the multidimensional nature of this normal candidate rather than what we're really dealing with, which is a guy who has worked tirelessly to degrade people's capacity to know what's true and what's false, what's right and what's wrong. And it's the media's failure, and it's Politico's failure in this very particular case, but it's the media's failure more broadly to the fact that look, we still have a large population that thinks that Donald Trump won the 2020 election and didn't try to overthrow the election results. We have a lot of people who are convinced that Donald Trump really isn't trying to upend or terminate the Constitution, or that he wouldn't actually be involved in trying to subvert the results of this coming election. We've got the evidence. This has been going on over and over and over. He's told us over and over and over what the plans are. And when reporters, when writers, when editors, when headline writers make this effort to try to present him as a normal candidate, to sane wash him, they do a terrible disservice to democracy, to our country.
Stephen, I feel like there's an attempt to erode our ability to be outraged. And it's so important for us to maintain our values and to maintain our expectation of candidates for political office to actually be responsible people. And when you have this kind of garbage and it just flies down, just rolls down the river along with all the other daily outrages from Trump, there's not enough focus in the media about how terrible this guy is. And we've got to hold on to that, and we've got to hold on to the outrage, and we got to vote with our outrage. And I feel like that's what we got to do.
Right.
So next week, we're going to do a bit longer of a take on this.
We are. We're going to sort of take a little time, maybe look back at some of what we've been talking about all over this election cycle, but also just sort of trying to say something I hope useful for people to look at this landscape, both in terms of the election itself, but also in terms of the mistakes, the failures of the media to be able to confront this reality in a way that really does the kind of public service that journalism should actually provide to the public.
Right. All right. Well, I'll see you then.
Looking forward to it.